Hi everybody, this is Kitsune Haruhi and welcome to my channel. Today I am trying out a product that isn't exactly new. As a matter of fact, I've gotten it several months ago. But it's still out there on the market and there have been a few changes here and there. But I wanted to see, now that I'm knocking all these down, I wanted to see exactly how well this product performs. What I have here is Compound Kings Pro wood clay. I've got it in 4 different colors because it looked like something really good to make terrains out of. I've also got their clear clay in blue because that was the only color they had available. And I want to see just how good a product this is. So let's check it out and see what we can do with this. By the way, in case you're wondering, I have discovered there's an actual light on my camera. Quite a difference there. I'm hoping that it shows up well and doesn't wash out. Bear with me. I have chosen to start out with the natural clay. Let's go ahead and get this open. Actually, let's look. It talks about molding it, shaping it, build with it, mix it. Talks a lot about making slime with it, which, as you well know, I don't want to. I'm not doing that. It does say to avoid drying, to store your compound in a tight sealed container, which I will almost guarantee is not included. Let's see what we have in here. I'm going to hope it hasn't gone bad because it has been several months since I picked it up. Oh, nothing in the box. And the first thing I note is a complete lack of instructions. I'm going to assume, and mind you, I have gone looking online to see, and I found nothing. I'm going to assume this is probably an air dry clay. In spite of having this grossness going on over here, it still feels pretty pliable. So I think we might be okay. Let's see here on the bag. Anything other than the usual warnings? Just the usual, don't suffocate yourself with warnings. So, no instructions. So here we go. I believe, possibly, it may be air dry. I believe I've said that already as well. But let's get this open. And see what we're dealing with. And like I said, the package was not resealable. So my first impression is this looks very crumbly and dirt-like. Has a little bit of a sparkle to it, which is kind of interesting. Ooh, it's stringy. Okay, this isn't too bad. It's a very nice clay texture. It's very soft. Kind of reminds me of Silly Putty. Oops, I lost it. And as I'm squishing it, it's maintaining its grain texture. And it's a tiny bit sticky, but not real bad. As you can see, it has a clear substance that holds it all together. Now, wood clay, in case you've not used it before, which I haven't, but I did look up the information, is actually made up of particles of wood and some sort of suspension. This one, I don't think they tell us anything about what it's made out of. Yeah, there's no information at all. It's just wood and something. So, but I kind of like that texture. It's very nice. Holds its shape well. And bounces if you toss it down instead of splatting. Okay. So, I perhaps could make something with this. I wonder, actually I'm pretty sure this should be moldable. It shouldn't have any trouble at all. I would, depending on how fresh it is, I'd probably use a silicone mold But yeah, so far, it doesn't offend me. It's actually a pretty nice texture. And yeah, just looking at it, I would definitely use this for making like dioramas, scenery for maybe your D&D or something along those lines. That's kind of a nice stuff. So, okay. Lack of information aside, this is not a bad product. So, that being said, let's see what the clear clay is like. Right off the bat, what I see is actually kind of intriguing. It's firmer, or at least it feels firmer inside of its packaging. Looks like there's about the same amount of it, just not as much of loose bag. And again, no idea what this stuff is made out of. This choking hazard, it doesn't say non-toxic. Yeah, we know nothing about what we've got our hands in right here. So let's hope. I did look for their website. No information there. I've seen some other people do some reviews on it. A lot of people complained that it was very, very sticky. Maybe it's because it was a bit fresher than what I've got. But a sticky clay isn't that big of a tragedy. You just gotta let it sit for a bit. It'll firm up. Now this, ooh. Yeah, this one's very sticky. It wants to cling. I'm hoping, if this is air dry, that it will dry as clear as it appears right now. Because that has some very nice clarity. That's some absolutely beautiful stuff. Oh, and it's kind of gelatinous. More jelly than clay. Let's see what's going on here. Pops. It does reattach to itself. Of course, it's going to lose its clarity just because there are fingerprints on it. Which, I don't know. Maybe you can put that back in? It is a lot firmer than the other. But it is still very translucent. Molds relatively well. Bounces even better. A little bit of rain. It's interesting to work with. Yes, it's very, very sticky. And it does want to crack when you're working with it as well. Like that. But again, if you're working on dioramas or something, and if this is air dry and still dries this clear, that would make great water, maybe crystals. So, I believe I'm going to have to make a quick experiment and see how these turn out. I'm just going to do something very simple. And I'm going to see if this is air dry, which I suspect it is, how long it takes. So, using our little ball here, I'm going to go ahead and make some ground. I'm going to grow a couple of blue glowy mushrooms on it. When I say glowy, that means I'm probably going to stick a light under it, given the opportunity. So let's see what we can do here. Find myself a light source, put under it. Here's just one of these little guys. Making sure it works first. Oh, well, that's just not helpful. Let's try that again. And you, I get the feeling this needs to hang upside down to dry. Alright, I've got that hung up between a couple of empty thread spools. That should work. It's good height for it. I'm just hoping it doesn't continue to flow and stretch after I get it all put together. So let's try this mushroom cap again. That's a little better. Now this fella, have his fringe put back together. Hopefully before this completely collapses, I'll get the dirt on and get this hung upside down to dry until, I'm going to say probably tomorrow. Being it's not a watery feeling clay, I think it might take a while to dry. It's trying real hard to collapse on me here. Now, my little friend, this experiment will go on. Does not want to hold its form, that's for darn sure. Alright. Now, this is about as good as things are going to get. Let's leave this alone. Let it dry. Hope that it holds some form of shape. And we'll see you tomorrow. Alright, well that was a brief pause. It didn't even last 5 minutes. It started losing its shape. So this needs a little bit more support. I do believe this isn't really intended to make a freestanding sculpture anyway. But I'm still going to try and do it. So I'm going to approach this a different way. Let's cut his little head off here. Get his stem set and his soil. And let these dry. And then, once that is a bit more secure, I will come back and make the upper part. Because really, putting an armature in this, you're going to see it. So if you're doing something where it doesn't really matter, I mean, that won't be such a big deal. But in this case, I think it would look a little strange. Not that a glowing mushroom isn't strange enough on its own. I think it just would not suit what I'm doing here. So let's see if this little doodad will stand up at least. If this much of it will stand up, that'll be fine. And then I can let it dry on its own. And if not, I'll just put it back on these so that it's hanging upside down. And you know what? I might be able to make a mold for the mushroom cap. I'll have to see if I have some mold compound, which I think I do. I'm going to make this little guy a mold. Alright? So, I'll get that done. And guys, I will see you when this dries. Okay, guys, it's been a few hours. I've been doing some other recording. Came back to do a quick update on what's going on with this. And I don't know how well you can see it, but it's kind of running weird and thin on me. It feels like the wood glue or wood clay is drying. And the clear isn't really. Though it is kind of doing interesting things. I will note that it does not keep a fingerprint. That all just kind of smooths itself right back out. Matter of fact, here's what I was messing with earlier and had put away, and yet traps the bubbles in it. But it is just absolutely smooth again. Well, this stuff holds on to wherever I put it. It really likes to be where it's been molded. So very stable as far as the wood glue goes, or wood glue. I keep wanting to call it wood glue. Wood clay goes, it's very stable. The clear, not so very much. Check that out. If I thought it would hold up and dry well enough, I would make spider webs with that. Now, that's not to say that the wood clay has set completely. It is still kind of soft, but it has certainly set more than this has. So far what I'm seeing with this is that maybe it is best used like a water feature when you're doing sculpture, because it really does not want to be a freestanding thing at all. But let's try putting it back on there. See what happens. It's actually hollowing out in here, where it's coming out from inside. Since I know it isn't going to keep any kind of indentation I put on it, just kind of cram it right back down inside there. Back into the soil with you. You're being replanted. There it is. This is very neat, actually. It's still kind of soft, but now it's just soft, like texturally soft. It's not sticky at all anymore. Almost has the texture like corkboard. And in any case, let's see what else this is going to try and do. I have some notions of what I would like it to do, as you've seen, but we're just going to have to see if it's going to let me. Somehow I get the feeling I'm just going to be out of luck here. But now I know that the wood clay is actually going to function. I can see a lot of good projects coming out of it, as long as I give it the proper support. And I think maybe this clear stuff will just strictly be for doing like dioramas and that sort of thing, and doing water features. I could see doing, like, getting a little glass container of some sort and putting this down inside and putting something in it to float. That could be really, really nice. It does have just such a nice reflective quality. It is very liquid looking. It's very forgiving on the fingerprints. It just has no structure. So, I'm just going to let this be a little longer and come back to it in a little bit and see what's happening. Alright? See you in just a little bit. Alright, we're back. It's about 24 hours later to see if any of this would dry. I come back to this lane over here, and the clear clay has turned into a puddle. So, and it's not drying at all. It's still, actually kind of feels softer than before. I tried shaping it to do a little cap over top of another item, and it swallowed a bead. So this stuff, so far as I can tell, is not air dry by any stretch of the imagination. I'll be surprised if this dries at all. So if there's a way to cure it, which Compound Kings did not disclose, I don't know what it would be. It's kind of cool to mess with. I mean, it does cool things, but ultimately not real useful unless we can figure out how to make it solidify. On the other hand, over here, I've got the wood clay, and where it was touching this stuff, it's still wet, but it seems to be drying very, very slowly. I'm going to try and pull this off here, see what it does. And yeah, it's starting to get pretty darn solid. So I believe the wood clay is air dry, and maybe the only reason it hasn't really here is that the clear interfered with it. Because where the clear is touching, it's actually pretty darn wet. So, let's see this here. Yeah, that solidifies really good. It's still flexible, which maybe later on it'll turn hard. I'm not sure. But I'm going to say this wood clay is going to be really, really great for making some stuff out of. So, yeah, that's kind of it, guys. I have Compound Kings Pro, multi-purpose compound, wood clay. I like it. Good stuff. And same company, same sets, clear clay in blue. Cool, fun to play with. Ultimately has no more use than slime does so far. If I should at some time find more information, I may revisit this. But as it stands right now, it's just plaything. So there you go, guys. This has been a short one and a quick one compared to what I've been doing lately. And if you would like to see more content, support this channel, etc., please feel free to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and make a comment or two. I like to hear what you have to say, and sometimes I respond when I have a second to stand still. I do have a Patreon page. Do visit it. It's Kitsune Haruri / Fox Latte. I do have several different tiers there, and I would love to see you come there as well. Just to, maybe get this thing advanced a little bit more. But, if you can't, I understand that as well. And I do very much appreciate those who like and subscribe as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.